So, how many of you have been in a situation or are in a situation or find yourself wondering not only necessarily what's my purpose, but I have this goal, but I don't know if it's the only thing I want to do or focus on. And especially with those of you with families or building families or whatever that looks like for you, it makes me think, I prefer not to, and I feel like I never did. That's why I've had so many job changes. But I don't want my success to be defined by whatever career or job or work I'm doing. Instead, and again, as now I'm briefing you, I prefer the good conversations. I prefer the building of something. I prefer developing, not necessarily a team, but just, it could be anybody. I've now started teaching CCD. Baseball season's coming up, i.e. the shirt, thanks, Momentum, no affiliate, whatever, but it's a cool shirt. And so I think development's the key. What's up, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of Moving with Life, where moving with life is about living intentionally, finding meaning in ordinary moments while continuing to grow in every season. Because life is literally full of seasons, and even now, I'm almost a year back. I haven't recorded in a while. If you're here, thanks for jumping back in with me. Thanks for being a part of the literal movement. And I've talked about movement and there's physical movement, there's mental movement, obviously. But nonetheless, we always talk about life and business and music sometimes, and philosophy, stoicism, church, religion. But nonetheless, we are back here for another episode. All right. So there's been a few videos and things that, and frankly, I even when I'm scrolling, I like too many videos to going back and find them. But my point is, there's videos of the tussle, and I haven't seen this completely, but it exists. I've heard enough people talk about it. But building a family or having a family, or maybe you're years into having developed your family, at some point there comes a time where the adults, etc., make a decision. Workaholism, coming home and just watching TV, or in our case, especially in this generation or this time, getting home and being on our phones the whole time, minimal conversation, minimal interaction. And again, it's not a very big generalization, but it's something, again, that I've heard in different ways. There's different ways that this has gone. And so I think we're coming out of the grind phase of life. People are realizing or figuring out whether they've done it and now they've sold their business, and they realize that even then it wasn't enough, because they realized that business is business, and sometimes you may be passionate, and they're going to exist. I'm not saying they don't exist, as far as building a business and selling it for $10 million, or $1 billion, whatever that looks like, whatever the allocation looks like. But nonetheless, there's that, and then there's a family development, which I think, at least in my circle, and even the pages that I watch, whether it's YouTube or social media in general, where the movement is becoming family first. The intent is to provide, but family comes first, and even then, sometimes there are sacrifices that need to be made, and that's one conversation that I've had, where it's like, yes, I try to say yes 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, but there's that 1 or 2 times that I have to tell you no, and I try to reiterate, or I try to bring up, I don't want to say no, but this we can't do this thing or buy this thing or go to this event right now, because there's all these other things that are priority. They take priority over this newest thing that came up. All that to say is, sorry, going back to the grinding and hustling. I think hustling is the better word. Hustling and working up, going up your chain, or whatever the hierarchy looks like, your job, and getting promoted and getting pay raises or getting bonuses, whatever that looks like. And those are all things that at least they're like little markers that are good, because at least you know that whatever you're doing for your job, for your work, it's the right thing to do. It's what the boss wants in some sense, right? But in that, and the title of this next little point is identity shift. I think for me, it's because I'm coming home. I've been home for almost a year, coming up on a year, and I had this career goal. Like, okay, I'm getting out of the Navy, and I want to go do this thing. And it's still there because I like practicing medicine, and I learned a lot. And this is obvious to me now. It's like I would have never had interest in medicine had I not left and joined the Navy and become a corpsman. But now I find myself, as I'm developing and building a family, that I like this other thing more, and that goes with this, right? And so Alex Hormozi actually brought up a point as I was watching some of his, because he does a lot about, he tries to promote a lot about business development, building businesses and starting from scratch, starting from zero. And even then, starting from zero, for me, it always comes back to this. This is literally why I'm here recording, because he said something that I needed to hear it in this way. It's not that I hadn't heard it. It's not. I've had conversations. I've had conversations with chat. I've had conversations with my wife. I've had conversations with my friends. Like, guys, like this is what's going on, and none of it's bad, and it's gonna get figured out. But nonetheless, Alex Hormozi says it's okay to make money doing one thing and be passionate about another. And when I heard that this morning, literally, it's like, okay. Now the question is still, how do I make that happen? How do I make that happen? Because I still feel the need and the want to provide. I still have these certain, I guess, financial goals, but with that comes like a job, whatever that ends up looking like. And I'm literally in the middle of this, so like I don't have an answer for you. I don't even have an answer for you. I'm going through. I'm like mentally there, as I'm going through school, and baseball season's coming up, so I'm really much looking forward to that. And that was one of the examples I want to bring up, given Alex Hormozi's quote about you can be passionate about one thing and make money, basically, I guess in some sense, making money doing one thing so you can work on your passion. And it's not, again, and even, it's not like, basically, I'd say my friends were the ones who they said that in a different way, but again, it's the framing of it's okay. And I get positive feedback, and I appreciate it. But I guess because I get to the point of like, okay, well then what am I going to do? And I'm not saying I'm not going to continue doing what I'm doing, but that question still posed, like, okay, well, if not A, then what is B? What does that look like? Because at the end of the day, something's going to give, right? Something's going to give, and like I've said, it's going to get figured out. But nonetheless, what's becoming my passion, what I really like doing, teaching CCD, coaching baseball, developing young human beings, from middle school age and obviously younger. I mean, I don't have many interactions that are with older kids, but I'd say middle school to like upper elementary, third grade to basically eighth grade is like kind of like the window that I've been working with a lot, whether it's through church or family. And so just last night, we got this contraption that you tie on the poles and you swing it around so that you can work on your baseball swing. And at some point we got to, I think she was able to do 5 swings in a row. And she's like, oh, I want to aim for 6. And she wasn't able to, which is fine. My point in all that is like, even in that interaction, even in that moment, it was all about, for me, it was all about being there. And I was gonna bring out my phone and put on music, because we've done that before when we're playing outside or whatever. And I put on music, and it's usually a playlist or something that we all like. But in that moment, it's like, let's just focus on the hitting. Let's just focus on what we're doing here right now, and not take a pause of distraction because I wanted, or I thought about, I can put some music on in the background while we're doing this thing. It's like we just kept the focus on hitting. And so even something like that, it's like, okay, how can I do this the most amount of times for as long a time? Does that make sense? I think so. How can I do this as many times as possible while still being able to provide what for the needs and for some wants? I mean, vacations and so on, things that we have in mind as far as not only materialistic things, but experiences themselves. As I continue to funnel and think about this still for longer, and really the idea would be to post more videos, because I need to practice developing this, as far as like developing a script or developing an outline. I don't really do scripts anymore. I tried to, and I didn't like the way it came out. It was too many steps that by the time I got here I was tired. But basically a bullet point script where I just kind of have my points. Because at the end of the day, I do enjoy basically debriefing here, because if you follow for long enough, and even if you followed even the last year that I posted some videos, and then obviously I fall off because I started school, so on and so forth. I was trying to jump back on after school, but then going into Christmas break, well, things happened. I had way more important and bigger things that I focused on. That the thought was like, oh man, this might be a cool episode, or man, maybe I should take my camera with me to kind of vlog the situation. But again, I get caught up in these moments where I don't want to be worrying about the battery life left in the microphone or in the camera itself. Generally, the camera that I'm using right now is pretty small, so it's not that big a deal. But nonetheless, there's all these things that I already realized over time, because I've ran out of battery while recording a video. I've dropped camera lenses because I'm trying to catch the moment, but I'm switching the lens itself, and it's like, no, I want to live in this moment. And I argue that either way. I argue that in conversations that I've had or have, where my hope is that we're getting to a phase where, obviously, phones are nice to have. I was going to say initially that phones are important. They're not important. We've had phones for a long time, and they just now develop to this thing over here, right? And so as time continues, because even on my bullet point here, I put the time illusion, where, oh, we can worry about that tomorrow. And I say these things because I'm literally guilty of them, and it's not about me being, oh, feel sorry, like feel sorry for me, or oh, poor me. It's like, no, no, no. It's that I have those moments where it's like, man, we're already at the end of February. Yeah, this weekend we're already at the end of February. How fast is 2026 going to go? How fast has time gone since the last time I came on an episode, which was like probably back in August. I didn't even check. I forgot to even check when last episode was, because it's like, oh, I had this idea. Let's record it and let me work on that. Let me work on what I'm doing right now. Childhood seasons don't not attain. They don't tune to your needs. And again, this is me. I always say this. I'm new here. Okay, I'm new here. I'm learning. But even again, in the almost 12 months that I've been back home and seen the development of one child, but then those around her as well, I find myself over and over again that I don't want to miss this moment because I'm scrolling on my phone, or I'm so deep into homework that now a month has gone by, 2 months has gone by, the semester has gone by. I don't want to do that. And so that's now my internal, it's a conflict. Now, it's not a bad one, but I'm going to use for the sake of the word, conflict, because it's a tussle that I'm having of moving with life in itself is a time illusion. Because again, if you go back to episode 1 from January 2017, around there, to now, 2017, it's almost been 10 years. We're on 9 years now. And inconsistent as it may be, obviously the first year I'm pretty sure I did one episode a week, and I kept it very consistent. And then I've been intermittent since 2019, and that's because I was in the Navy and so on. And now I'm back, but we're already in 2026, and I've almost been home for. And even then, if I give you kind of the layout of how I've spent the last 12 months, my hope would be that I hope that it would help. I don't know, diminish or erase is the right word, but turn down the illusion of time, because we can do a lot. It's just a matter of tuning into that moment and being in that moment. So how can we develop practical and intentional presence, action? I promote. I guess promote's an okay word, but I very much encourage action. How can we act on what we're going to say? Especially with middle schoolers, I push it a lot, and very intentionally, because I want them to think and realize that their actions are important and they can have an impact, a good impact. And so, one thing I first mentioned was getting off phones, having conversation, and one thing that try to do it. I'm not always successful, and we're not always successful as the adults. But instead of asking, "Oh, how was your day?" "Oh, good." Changing the question to, "What's one thing you learned today?" Or what's one thing you learned today? Or tell me about your day. What's something that you liked about today? What's something that maybe bothered you about today? And sometimes it is you watch, kind of see body language, and then Maybe it is going to be a simple, how was your day? Good. And like, are you sure? Yes. I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I'll develop that 3, 4, 5 times until we get a chuckle, or it's like, why you ask me so many times? It's like, because it's funny. Like, it's just to break the moment and show and realize that I'm not. Well, for one, I'm not always so serious as it seems, even though I am a good amount of time. But the point is like you just kind of break that and start just open up a conversation. So to recap, and as we close out today's episode, passion doesn't always have to be lined up with whatever you do for work. And I see a lot, because I know so many of y'all like that work hard every day. Whether you're in the military, my friends that are in the military still, people that work in the school district that I know, people that have blue collar jobs that are out doing you all literally doing your thing. But I'd say the other end is like, you should have a passion for something, and maybe it is work. And I will argue that if you have a family, I'm not saying not everybody's perfect. That's not what I'm driving here. That's not what I'm trying to drive home here. But it's just a matter of, we should have something to look forward to every day. I think that's another premise for today's episode is we should have something to look forward to, and that hopefully does line up with passion, whether it's being a parent, whether it's a hobby, a hobby that you might have. Maybe it's having a hobby with your child, or with your family in general. It doesn't have to be your child only. But as you go through the rest of the week, I'm recording this on a Thursday. I'll try to post it today. If not, it'll be uploaded by tomorrow. But as you close up the week and you listen through this episode and you made this far, thank you. Just reflect on what purpose might mean to you, and where that lines up, again, whether it's career, family, developing family, hobbies. Because I need the reminder of, your work can supplement your passion, no matter what it is. In my case right now, it's being a part of baseball season. It's being a part of going to learn, or watching and learning, okay, these kids show animals, whether it's rabbits and bigger animals and so on and so forth. Taking care of, being responsible, developing discipline. They don't know it yet, but that's what it is. It's just through manual work. It's through physical action, because you have to. Whether you're walking the animals, or feeding the animals, changing their pen, whatever that looks like, changing the cage, whatever that looks like. But let's not forget that we should live intentionally. And even if you're just there in the moment, again, whether it's hobby, children, family, whatever that looks like, and it doesn't have to be existential every single time. It's definitely not for me, but there are just little moments where my little light bulb goes off, where it's like, this is what I want. I want more of these moments. I want to do this more often, as much as possible. And one more last little piece is being out. For me, it's being outside. As much as I'm inside because I'm doing homework, or I'm at school, or whatever that looks like, being outside helps me. And I think because it's good for my mental health and mental clarity. And so with that, don't forget that purpose can be multidimensional. There can be different facets. Again, tie into purpose and ambition and passion, and what gets you out of bed in the morning. And also there's deviations of that we could go down. But for today, it is just the driving point of, one can help the other. They don't always have to be the same thing or aligned in the same way. So yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for being with me. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have found a moment that you're prioritizing right now, leave it in the comments, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, wherever you are watching this, Spotify. I guess my closing line is, practice being present. Period. Practice being present. We'll see y'all next time.